If I had a nickel for every first-person shooter that featured an angry protagonist with guns who kicks bad guys in the face at high speeds, I would have 2 nickels, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know the rest. It's just that for all of the cavorting and all-out audio-visual assault on your senses, it's hard not to think about Mullet Mad Jack while playing Free Live's Angerfoot. The differences are stark: retro sci-fi versus gang-infested wasteland, randomly generated levels versus handcrafted locations, and roguelike upgrades versus earning stars to unlock an arsenal of deadly sneakers. Yet, here I am, kicking and shooting but having a little less fun. Don't get me wrong, Angerfoot can be an enjoyable first-person shooter that takes a relatively simple concept and stretches it in unique ways. An occasionally unclear damage system, lack of checkpoints, and random occurrences aren't enough to outright ruin it, but they do sour the experience. The story is equally simple and surreal, with extensive amounts of gonzo. Where crime is supreme and unchecked, Angerfoot finally completes his collection of primo sneakers. The moment is ruined by Goo Cop, however, who steals them away with the help of the Violence Gang. Since there are 4 pairs of sneakers and 4 corresponding gangs, Angerfoot sets out to run roughshod over each one, feet first. At some points, you can converse with random civilians. They'll provide information on just how extensively messed up the city is, and, more importantly, why they like it. One shopkeeper says he hasn't been looted in days, not with a sense of relief, but worry that no one likes him anymore. Speak to a pair of friends, and one will sadly outline how they were mugged on the nearby staircase last week. The other will then joyfully chime in about how they recently mugged someone on the stairs. Go up the staircase and you'll be met with who else but the muggers, who promise excellent rates. Alternatively, you can kick everyone regardless of what they're doing or what they have to say. It doesn't provide any benefits, but you can do it. The real meat of Angerfoot is in its rundown residential buildings, harrowing rooftops, and shadowy sewers where gang members hide. I'm not a fan of the more juvenile aspects, but the attention to detail is commendable, especially with the environmental destruction and sound effects. The objective is fairly simple: eliminate everyone and get to the end. Keep doing this until you eventually fight the boss of that territory, and repeat. It starts simple enough, every regular enemy falls to a single kick. You have an extensive range with the same, which allows for kicking several enemies at a time. Jump and kick to plant both boots into an enemy's face. However, there is some more nuance behind this impromptu boot camp. There are several firearms available, albeit with limited ammo. When a weapon runs out, you can throw it, stunning an enemy, or a group if they're bunched together enough, and providing ample opportunity for a follow-up kick. Each weapon has unique properties, from the handgun and its precision to the SMG with its higher magazine and spread, or the shotgun with massive front-loaded damage. There are several ranged threats, so knowing when to kick something in the face versus shooting it is in some situations. Angerfoot can also kick down doors, flattening any enemies in their path. Facing 3 doors into a room and wondering which one to kick. Kick them all down to take out a threat or 2 early instead of charging straight in. It's possible to kick explosive enemies and grenades, wiping out entire groups. The level design further embraces the carnage by planting explosive barrels and cylinders throughout, triggering even more chain reactions. There are some bizarre discoveries though, like a toilet style with 4 bowls facing opposite to each other, or a room that's full of toasters with bread cooking. It's enough to give you pause before returning to the kicking. Further aiding Angerfoot on his journey is the rest of his shoe collection. By completing levels and optional challenges, you gain stars, which can unlock new shoes with significant benefits. 1 pair grants ammo on kicking enemies, perfect to complete an objective that requires killing enemies without throwing away your gun. Another turns enemies' heads big, and while it may seem humorous, it's also ideal for completing challenges that require headshots. Those who want to take a firearmless approach also have tasks to get through levels using only kicks, no shoes, or running through without killing anyone. Despite the over-the-top style, Angerfoot can be quite unforgiving. There are no checkpoints. Dying places you back at the level's beginning. It can be exhilarating as you learn the placements of enemies and rampage through even quicker, optimizing your aim, strategies, and kicks to return to where you died. Beating the timer is essential in many cases, but taking things slow can also be advantageous in Angerfoot, especially when you need time to heal. That brings me to one key issue: damage. Sometimes 2 shots from an enemy's handguns are enough to take you down, but that's not always the case. Maybe they're doing less damage from further away, maybe they're not. It's hard to tell at some points and not worth risking. The sheer number of enemies with firearms in some cases also makes it easy to die, though they can shoot each other in tight enough spaces. SMG-wielding foes only need a single burst to down you, which I'm fine with since they often have a delay before firing. Why are the goofy alligators able to one-hit kill with their melee attacks, adding to the frustration when kicking a group of enemies doesn't down one who then gets a lucky shot in? Your guess is as good as mine. The lack of checkpoints further exacerbates this, but it's worse when you factor in the environment. I can appreciate bits and pieces of doors getting in the way while moving, or the fact that shooting an enemy that's about to explode will leave a corpse that's prone to detonate. The finer details become less appreciable when a random moving cylinder kills me through a firefight because I moved towards the exact spot where it did. Learning a level, taking down its threats through various means, and optimizing one's run is fun. Random nonsense is not. On the bright side, there are options to dial down the difficulty, making enemies and/or bosses easier to deal with or turning off death altogether. I also appreciate the extensive aiming and control options, and the boss fights can be endearing, though far from the most mechanically demanding. Though it only goes slightly above and beyond its selling point, that of angrily kicking dudes in the face, Angerfoot is enjoyable. The pulse-pounding action and aggressively pulsing soundtrack, combined with the bizarre setting and fun combat, make for a unique first-person shooting experience. While some aspects of the default difficulty could use some fine-tuning and checkpoints, at least for the standard levels, it would be appreciated. It's still a unique odyssey of kicking first and not bothering with questions later. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.